your boys. You see my co-host. It's your boy Talent with Lil Hev right here. This is Heavy D, named after the great Hev, the White Myers. He's a bag of blue funk. Look at him. He's a blue nose. Say what? You heard that? Tell him don't play with you, right? He is so focused right now. He heard that little beat. It's all good. It's my little dude right there. So welcome to Motivation Mondays, y'all. Back at you. It's going to be a hell of a Monday. I got my 5 points of reference I want to hit. We get into things. I like to start off with saying, hey, how was your weekend? Rhetorical question for me to you, but self-analyzing question for yourself. So when you hear me say, how was your weekend? That's for you to reflect on your weekend. And again, ask yourself how it was. Was it positive? Was it, everything you wanted it to be? Did it set you up for a good Monday? Today is the perfect Motivation Mondays because here in New York, where I'm based, it's a straight rainy day all the way. And you know what's crazy about rainy days? They are the days that most people get the least amount done. Like it's literally a challenge to be motivated on a rainy day as it is. Then it's a Monday, the hardest day to be motivated. You know what I mean? So when you combine those, now you talking about like a crazy combination to stop you from progressing whatever it is you want to do. So you might be stagnated. Now, here's the good thing as well. It is a holiday in this nation. They do honor and recognize Christopher Columbus. So Columbus Day has been around for a while. I don't know how long it's going to be around, given the climate and how things are going. But you put all those things together, and I know a lot of people are tuning in like today, like I didn't want to be motivated today. I didn't need to be motivated today. I'm chilling. I'm recharging my batteries. I don't have to check in at work. It's a holiday. Oh man, and it's raining. I'm ordering takeout. You know what I mean? That's because motivation goes cut. You can slice that pie in 100 different slices. Something simple like that. Normally you would have cooked, came home and cooked, but now you got a little downtime. You know what? Order me a pizza. That's what I did. You know what I mean? So anyway, we're here to help motivate it. And what better way to do it than one of the things I find most motivating? One of the things that stands out to me as most motivating is when something like this pandemic, something like COVID kicks in, that's ultimately depressing, stressful, stagnating. You know what I mean? The main ingredient in complacency and overall giving up. What stands out to me is the people who do totally the opposite. In a time where they should lay down and say, forget it, I ain't doing nothing, they become creative. They tap into that creative side and go above and beyond. So my guest on the show today, I want to start out with, is a good buddy of mine, man, and a good working entertainment comrade. Bobby Simmons is in the building. I want to bring him in, bring Bobby in from the world famous, the world's hip hop band, the original Stetsasonic. Bobby Simmons is in the building. I believe he's bringing some of the members of Stetsasonic in here with him. We're gonna have a good time and have fun with the main man. What's good, sir? I was waiting to connect. I see. Now hit your video. I hear you.
I got you.
Hit the video button, and then you're good to go. How you living?
I'm good, man. How about you? You good?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. We're gonna have a good time, bro.
Did Wise log in yet?
I don't. I just see you so far. Did you hit your what you call it?
Yeah, Wise should be logging in now. The light just parked, so he'll be coming upstairs because we're in the studio.
Okay, you got to hit your. It's a video thing. So tap your screen. You'll see a little video camera icon come up. Tap that so that you're showing.
Hold on.
There you go. There you go, sir. There you go. What's up? Welcome to the show, fam.
How you, baby? You good?
Yes, sir. I'm good, man. You know how ecstatic I was because you know what's crazy? You originally hit me right before this lockdown thing, a couple of months prior with like T. We back, we doing our thing, we touring, and this is this is just to get back out and touring. And then boom, behind that, we're in the middle of it. And now you got the new music.
Right, exactly, man. Yeah, we've been, we actually, when I did hit you, we had just came back from the Netherlands. We just did a tour out there in the Netherlands with, who was out there? It was the Netherlands festival that we did out there.
Okay.
And then once we knew that we was good in Europe, we figured, okay, when we get back, we was gonna finish up the new album, the new stuff, and prepare it. But like you said, the pandemic happened, but that didn't stop us, man. We just kept moving. We was like, just keep moving. We'll do stuff from home, and we'll just keep moving.
you guys always been, to me anyway, motivational.
Right, thanks.
And anybody, because we come up in what we call the golden era of hip hop.
Right,
You know what I mean? We
right.
was in the golden era of hip hop. And Rakim mentions that in his book. He got this book, Sweat the Technique. Rakim's book is called Sweat the Technique, right? So in the book, he's talking about, you know, the whole thing, golden era of hip hop. And you guys were in there. So you guys always was motivational, track by track, album by album. I mean, even when, you know, On Fire joint dropped, it was over. I'm gonna tell you something you don't even know about me. When y'all dropped that shit, I was signed to B-Boy Records.
All right, we know where you at.
So hold up. So bust it, right? So, you know, I'm coming out of Mount Vernon. So I'm part of the money earning crew. It's three of us, as a DJ, two rappers, whatever. Then later on, we bring in like this dude to sing some hooks and shit. But anyway, we signed to B-Boy Records. They dropped Criminal Minded first. Now this is when music first went to CDs, that era. So when Criminal Minded dropped, this was B-Boy Records' first CD, first physical CD. So we were in the studio, Chung King. We doing our thing.
Chung King Studios.
Yeah, y'all joints pop and drop, and you're like, yo, B, we gotta hurry up. So our management was with Uptown. So you gotta realize, us looking at y'all was like supreme motivators to us. You know what I mean? And you gotta also realize, when the first joints dropped, the world didn't know it was a hip hop band.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It came off like another group, track, blah, blah, blah. And then what was it? All That Jazz, on All That Jazz, the lyrics kind of let you know. If you didn't know, it let you know we're a hip hop band.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So it's crazy motivating, son. So I just want to give you props on that. First and foremost, you said Roman is in. Bring him up onto the screen. Bring him onto the screen to see who we got here. We got another member, I believe, that is in there. That's Wise?
Is it? I don't see him on this side. You see him?
No, he's connecting. That says connecting.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it might take my minute. Okay.
That's the human mix machine, the beatbox.
Wise through calling my DJ Paul.
Yeah. Actually, hold on, real quick before we move on. Let me tell you, because Paul wanted to log on, but he was busy doing something. He said to tell you what's up. Your son and his son grew up together. They went to school.
And Paul, he hooked them up. He had them doing tracks, Cartoon Network stuff, and all that.
That's Delight, MC Delight.
Yo, welcome, Wise. Welcome, Delight. Listen, man. First and foremost, man, tell us about the new movement, man. The new energy on the road, the music that's being dropped, and everything.
Oh yeah, man. It's tremendous energy. It's a new metamorphosis. That's what I call it, a step metamorphosis, in which, you know, we build on what we had started by creating new lanes, because we're the OGs now.
Right.
We're the OGs now. So we trying to lay it down, because them guys are going to reach our age. You know what I'm saying? They're going to find out that they're going to still have that bug. They're going to still want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So now, hey, we're trying to assist in making sure we create those names, because every form of music actually has it. Rock and roll, rock, you know, they perform and do what they do,
right?
You know, well into their upper years and stuff like that. And hip hop is the same thing, even R&B. You know what I'm saying? You can go to the IG Buzz, everybody. You know what I'm saying? So those lanes has to be created for us. You know what I'm saying? In order for us to serve, because most of the listening audience, and you know, they may not want to listen to the young guys that's up to date when they get older. They want to listen to the guys that came out during their era and older and so forth and so on. Or when, as you grow up, you may have a different taste. And also the exposure of many different decades of music keeps you informed, you know, on the history of the music that you may pass down to your own kids and stuff like that. And it's important that we control the narrative of what we doing as a people.
I like that. That's deep as hell. That makes all the sense in the world. I was just watching an interview last week with the great Bruce Smith, who played for the Buffalo Bills, and he said something similar. You know what I mean? Like he said, he came into the league, he was a loose cannon, he was wild and everything. Marv Levy calmed him down, showed them how to be adults, and then as he played the game and got older in the game, he realized, like, dude, there's going to be life after this game, and I'm going to have to continue to teach the young players that are coming up where to go after this. It's still more life to this thing. And I got to tell you, hey, Wise, what's good, brother? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, man? What's going on? I was trying to fix the volume. Now I can hear you guys.
Okay, yeah, I hear you loud and clear, man. First of all, welcome to Motivation Monday. Tell me, how you feeling about the new movement, man? The fact that all your brothers are together, first of all, is a miracle.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, I mean, you know, it's good to see them always and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we haven't done a show since last year because of this pandemic. You know what I'm saying? But at least I'm glad to know that everybody is safe. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. That's what's up, man. So now tell everybody, either one of you guys can answer this question, because here's the thing. Like you said, we're transcending generations. So there's going to be a new crop of hip hop fans, just that like hip hop in general, that's going to be like, oh shit, Stetsasonic. Okay, what they about? So tell everybody how many members in the band, all the name of the members in the band, and what y'all got in store coming their way right now.
Hey, Wise, why don't you answer part of that?
Yeah, of course. Right now, it's Daddy O, The Light, myself, Bobby, Prince Paul. You know what I'm saying? Fruquan and DBC, they're with us. You know, I mean, at heart and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we recording right now. We recording and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Getting into a few things and stuff. So and waiting for this pandemic, to wear down and stuff. So we could definitely do our thing, performing again and stuff.
And also, just to add on to what Daddy O said, of course, we go back a ways back into the just above the early 80s, you know what I'm saying? And we're just happy, and that's what anniversary is all about. See, because we make our own holidays, you know what I'm saying, as I talk about in my rhyme. Whereas we can escalate and do whatever we need to do, you know what I'm saying, to show people not only how it was done, but how it can be done. So Stetsasonic, which means Stet, style, sonic, sound, and we cover it all. And we're looking forward to putting out not only new music, but we got some other projects that's going to be just off the meat rack.
Yo, I thought I was the only dude to stay off the meat rack, so that's my shit. I be saying that show. I thought I was the only one. That's the first time I did an interview or heard somebody say off the meat rack. That's my shit right there. All right, so question for y'all. What was, and this is for these couple of questions for the fan base. What was the hardest Stetsasonic record to do or produce?
The hardest one? Probably The Blood, Sweat, No Tears?
The Blood, Sweat, and No Tears album was a difficult album to record because at that time, Fuquan was not there. So now we were trying to reinvent ourselves on that level and stuff like that.
But we pulled it together though.
Yeah, we
pulled it together.
We did pull it together. You know what I'm saying? I love the music on that. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, you always wish that you had everybody there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but the great thing about the Blood, Sweat, No Tears album is that we were able to figure out how much further we were going to go as this hip hop band. Because remember, at that particular time in '86 and '87, there was no one. And I always tell people, Delight pinned that name, hip hop band. If you go back to the history of '84 or even '83, no one even stated hip hop band in the music. We just got into a big, not fight, but a big debate with the group Nucleus about them calling themselves a hip hop band. And we was like, yo, fam, y'all was never a hip hop band.
They a disco band.
They was Prince of the Revolution, man. It was not a hip hop band. They was wearing the space boots, talking about jam on there, a jam on, but we loved them though.
I would love to be there during that heated conversation. Yo, that's some shit you need tequila for, shots of tequila, because that's hilarious. Yeah, nobody looked at them like a hip hop band. And I'll be honest with you, like I said before, when me and Bobby Simmons got on the line first, I said to him, just from a fan, from an outside looking in, when y'all dropped those voices, right, and that sound, you didn't even, the average listener didn't even know it was a hip hop band yet, until, when you was clear is when all that jazz came out. When all that jazz dropped, you said it in your rhyme. It was you, like, that said it, world famous hip hop band, and it made you think as the listener like hip hop band, but y'all had it in the video, which coincided with the lyrics, and we like, oh shit, this is a hip hop band. you understand what I'm saying? Then we didn't see that again into what, the Roots?
Right, into the Roots, into most groups today. A lot of groups, I don't care if it's Jay-Z or whoever, you know what I'm saying? They'll have a band, you know what I'm saying?
They stole that later though. They stole that later.
Right. Because bottom line, when I was going to school, instrumentation was, being cut down, you know what I'm saying? And it's important that we keep instruments in our life because that was one of our main faults. Our main what I'm looking for. Our main mainstays in our culture, in Black American culture, and the fact that from the live instruments came jazz and many other different forms of music, and we can go all the way back to the shores of Africa. You know what I'm saying? So live music, especially drums and so forth and so on, that is the heartbeat. That is the heartbeat of our souls. You know what I'm saying? And it is through that we're able to express ourselves in a much needed way. Tribes used to connect by the playing of the drums. You know what I'm saying? So forth and so on. So the playing of instruments should always be a mainstay for every household in our communities. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that every child needs to have, period. You gotta
that's definitely a fact. Let me ask you guys this right here. Now, I worked with the Fugees and Wyclef on several albums. One thing about what they did in the early days with the first album was they had the basement in Jersey where they laid predominantly most of that stuff. Then later on, they would take it to a studio with Columbia and all that, hard press it, level it out, be ready for wax, so to speak. Did you guys do the same kind of work ethic where you had a studio outside the studio?
Yeah, we did do a lot of pre-production, but it was done in the house. You know what I'm saying? And then we move on. Most people don't know the history. Back when we were first recording, most of the groups didn't get no album budget. There was no album budget. we had to prove ourselves, you know, and the way in which the industry was, it was a singles industry. You know what I'm saying? So, so when you get the first album like On Fire, that was recorded on a budget of like $8,000. You know,
Wow, that's crazy right there.
yeah. So
The album was done on a budget of $8,000.
yes, On Fire.
Yeah, most of that stuff was recorded at Tom Studio, too. Tom Silverman, Monica Studios.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Calliope.
Calliope Studios, which is the building we're in now. Calliope Studios, yeah. Yeah. That album, actually, that On Fire album, actually, that was the stamp of approval album to let people know that we were a hip hop band. Because if you go back and listen to that first album, there was really no samples on that album. It was strictly drums, keyboards, and scratches. And that's pretty much how Stetsasonic was broke down. Like, we didn't loop anything. It was like, we'll just play it, and Prince Paul will find certain scratches, the guitars. Because at the time, turntables wasn't an instrument. We made it an instrument.
Right.
By taking like little guitar sounds. Like James Brown always had good pieces that Paul can scratch up and like balance with me on the drums or balance with DBC on the keys. And we made that clear to people that everything we did on that first album, even all the albums we did, we played on, we stripped it down. We always talk to Houdini and them and tell them the difference between our albums and their albums was that their albums was produced by Larry Smith, you know, some of the cats who was dope. We loved Larry Smith. He used to make them big beats, Houdini. But the difference between us and them is that we was doing it. We were the producers. Right. We were making the tracks that we were making back then.
Right.
You know, we didn't really, well, at that time, not even at the time, throughout our entire Stetsasonic career, we didn't need any other producers to produce us. And that's the difference between us and rappers today. Right. They have no creativity because the producers don't have the creativity.
Well, speaking of other rappers, Wise, I'm gonna throw this question to you first and foremost. As a top group in this thing called hip hop, give me your top 5 groups over the years. Hip hop only.
Groups. Of course, PE. PE is definitely one of them. Wow. Groups. I mean, I definitely got to include us as one of my top 5 and stuff. Crash Crew, definitely. I definitely love Crash Crew. Mel, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, and I'm going like even before we came out and stuff, because there was a lot more groups back then and stuff like that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And thing about it, like a group like Crash Crew, to me, I thought they was very underestimated. You know what I'm saying? I thought they put out some good records and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. One more group.
It's like Treacherous 3. Funky 4 plus 1.
Treacherous. Yeah. Treacherous 3. Because see, I gotta go with the groups from back then and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not mad at that. It's your list. Can't nobody mess with your list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember the Force MDs was the Force MCs.
Yeah, the Force MCs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta go with a lot of those groups from back, from way back when and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because they was very inspiring. You know what I'm saying? They the ones that, that influenced us to be a pretty big group, because I mean, there's 7 of us, you know what I'm saying? And back then there was, all these cats was, in this one group and stuff. But
hey, yo, Talent. I want to tell you something real quick, because I know we gonna run out of time. So let me tell you the story real quick, Talent, about how it was with us on tour. Stetsasonic, Public Enemy, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, EPMD, Big Daddy Kane. That was the Bring the Noise tour? I think that was the Bring the Noise tour.
That was pre-PE tour.
PE tour, right? The PE tour. And I always talk to Paris about this all the time. I say, yo, Paris, we always supported each other's record. You got to remember, the golden era of hip hop of 1988 was Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy, Salt and Pepper, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, Raw Bass, Stetsasonic, Special, all of us. We had albums out that summer. a kid play of 1988. But the one thing we always told EPMDers, man, y'all step on that stage with us, we smoking y'all, and that's what we did. We tell them they got the dopest album because EPMD, that Strictly Business album, had to be
Yeah,
the
it is
craziest.
a hot album.
But now we used to smoke them every night on the stage.
Yeah, on stage, yeah.
You look at Real,
Because
But I mean,
we're
think
a
about
stage show
it.
group.
It's gonna,
You know what I'm saying?
that's what I'm saying. You're
Even
big.
even before we started making records, we was all about the
you look
stage.
at Real Jamaican
Yeah.
out there.
It's all about the stage, talent.
Yeah.
Yo, but that's gonna be. Let me tell you something. When you look at a classic group like Stetson Sonic, it's gonna be hard to follow them
You growing
any
great.
because they're not just playing a record. See, that's the thing. Everybody's playing a record and rapping to it, but a band that work together day in, day out, like he said, y'all was about that stage.
Yeah.
So when it popped, it was like,
Zion got a show going on now.
But those are boys, though. We have respect for them, and we all have respect for each other's project. Because we had to love for those 5 years, man. We was in it together.
right. That's good business right there. Hey, fellas, listen, I super duper appreciate y'all popping in. Tell us about this music, when it drops, where the people can see it, how can they follow Stetson Sonic, and you got the new gear, you got the new shirts and stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly. And yours is on its way too, talent. Actually, what's happening with us now, we got a new single out right now with called Now Y'all Giving Up Love. You can actually order the vinyl 45, which is a special edition. Before you go digital, you can go to www.origu, ORIGU.de. Get the 45 edition, and then it'll be digital by the end of November, so people go find it and get it. And you can also get the Stet Gear stuff at www.pkmbrand.com. They get their hoodies, their shirts, and hopefully when this pandemic is over, Talent, man, we can put together this comedy and hip hop tour we've been trying to do for a minute, man. We waiting.
No, ain't no ifs and buts about it. That's happening.
Right?
2021 is ours, B. 2021 is ours. You already ready. I'm on deck. You on deck. Enough said. Say less. These my boys right there. I love y'all, man. Step forever. And if you can't stay at all,
She's good. I will.
salute y'all, brothers, man. Thank y'all very much,
Get
man.
ready for all the
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man. This is what I'm talking about. All right, super producer, man. Producer.
So you put the vocals.
He got his.
What Daniel did was he sent.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, love you.
Yo, you got your whole mic on, bro. That's how it goes down, man. Motivation Mondays, man. Sorry about the interruption. My producer got his speaker on. We heard your whole conversation, Troop.
Oh, my bad. You can hear
Cut
me?
that shit off.
Oh,
You just answering phones, picking phones up. Hello, hey, how you doing? How your mama doing? I just heard all your shit, son.
oh, my bad. But my mic was off. I don't even understand.
Nah,
You can hear me?
Listen, we heard everything from the phone ringing to picking it up to the whole conversation. So they trying to close their joint out. Both y'all talking at the same time. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's all good. All right, so that was the hip hop legend band, the hip hop band. Don't get it twisted. Stetson Sonic, the world famous Stetson Sonic, coming on Motivation Mondays, telling us how it goes down, what to look out for, and giving us a little insight on back in the day when the hip hop golden era was happening, how they was on the big tour with P, and all that stuff right there. And I like what Delight said. Was like, listen, you're talking about going forward in the future in the same way you be a trendsetter and set the groundwork for cats when they first start out. Somebody has to be the person to show them what to do when you get into a different era and a different, end of your career. You may go into something else. You may stop rapping. You may still have the bug to keep rapping. Whatever the case it is, you need a blueprint. You need somebody to show you, how do I do it now? Okay, that's how I did it then. Fast forward 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. What do I do now? How do I do it now? How do I go about doing X, Y, Z? And he said the same thing that I heard in the interview a week ago, interviewing one of the main killers in the NFL, one of the hardest hitting linebackers to play the game, was my man Bruce Smith from the Buffalo Bills. And when you hear Bruce Smith talk now, you would not think that's the same person, because how laid back and calm and cool and collective he is. Because like he said, I had to get my life together and get into a place where now I'm moving on into this part of my life. And he said he constantly works with the young players, even today in the NFL, because they have to understand that them too will reach this point in their life or career and have to learn how to adjust. That's a hard thing, man. We talk about a lot of stuff, motivation Mondays, but that's a hard thing. That's a whole show in itself of just talking to people about that next phase. No matter what that is. What is that next phase and how do I deal with that next phase? Okay, I've done this for 5, 10, 25 years, whatever it is. And now it's time that has to transcend to something else. Either that no longer exists, I outgrown that, I outaged that, whatever it is. You have to be ready. What's that next thing? What's the blueprint and the layout for that next thing? It sounds, half the time it's something we don't want to envision or talk about, but it's real, So that's something to talk about, definitely. All right, let me go through these 5 points, man. Point number one. Point number one is inspiration. Okay. Now, again, I told people you have to get this book. This is Sweat the Technique by, one of my favorite rappers as well, Rakim. All right. The book is Sweat the Technique. And he has these 5 points in here that I use all the time. I mean, he's using them to tell his story and his thing, which is a great book. I recommend to get it. But the 5 points that I agree with is, first one, inspiration. Let us find the first thing we need to do to stay motivated, stay, making progress. The beginning of that is, one of the beginning points would be inspiration. What inspired you? This is your homework, these 5 bullet points. Part 1 is inspiration. Make a note, really dig deep, think, what inspired me in the first place? Like, why am I doing blank? Why do I want to do blank? What made me think of even getting involved with blank? Who was that? What was that inspiring thing? What is inspiration to you? Who, what, where, when? Like, when did it happen? When did you feel the bite and the bug to be inspired with said thing? Who? Who are the people? What friends or family members or even foes, whatever it is, or colleagues or coworkers that inspired you to do whatever that thing is? Because that's very important. Can you remember where you were? Can you remember, when it happened, where you were, what you were doing? The who, what, where, what, when? All of that, comes full circle back around to that one, that bullet point, that 1 point of reference, inspiration. If you look at interviews with any of the greats, any artists, they all can tell you, because they're all going to get that question. That's a question that us as entertainers are damn near always ready for. Hey, man, what made you want to do this? What inspired you? So bullet point number 1 is inspiration. It's very important. And again, who? It could be people, persons, could be places, things. Do you remember where you was? Do you remember when that was? Or it may not be one little thing. It may be several things, that like a good bowl of gumbo or a good recipe. different ingredients to make up the one recipe. The next one is spirituality, which is a big one for me. Next bullet point in a homework reference. Do your homework. Think to yourself. Are you spiritually in touch with your own beliefs and faith? Not to be confused with, it don't have to be, when we bring up the word spirituality, you don't have to be stagnated and stuck under religion. Let us do say that, because some people automatically, boom, run right to that corner of religion and, oh man, you know, and why you had to bring that up? And I'm Baptist. And I think spirituality is a little different. I think religion tries to be, and I use the term lightly, tries to be the organization of spirituality and faith. I think spirituality and faith has to be targeted definitely with you and only you first. You have to find that connection with faith-based connection and spirituality connection and direction, what you're going to go with. Your faith is your faith. And I don't care what it is. I don't care. It could be Allah, it could be Buddha, it could be Christianity, Jesus Christ, and so many other things. But spirituality to me is to tapping into your zone and the vibrations that are out here, like universal vibrations that we all maneuver between. You know, sometimes we hit the right vibrations. To me, when you're in the right vibration zone, all these things begin to go right. And then sometimes you're around the wrong vibration zone, and that vibration zone, you feel you've had a run of bad luck. And man, well, I can't win for losing. You hear all of these phrases and sayings. But I'm here to tell you, if you wanted to be a part of being motivated and progress and success and all that, then you have to tap into your individual spirituality and faith zone. That goes hand in hand. And it does not, I'll repeat this, it does not necessarily have to be religion. People make that mistake every day. They hear words like spirituality, they go right to religion. Even when you hear a word like faith, you hear a word like faith, people go right to religion. Oh, my faith in God, and that's okay. But there's this faith that goes deeper and across a bigger board. You know, don't, corner everything into this one box. Everyone who believes in a higher power can be a very spiritual person. And that same person, you can have a religious counselor or ask about God. They go, well, I don't believe God. Or I don't have a religion. Or blah, blah, blah. Something you don't want to hear because you may live a different lifestyle. However, they may be as tuned in and tapped in as their spirituality they possibly can be. So that doesn't make them good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't make them right or wrong. It just it is. But that's that person. You have to respect that. That's that person's thing. Number 3, consciousness. Consciousness. To be conscious, to know, to pay attention, to perceive, to pick up on things. Your consciousness needs to be intact. Because how can you succeed? How can you elevate yourself if you don't know what elevation is? If we don't know what something is, we're almost hoping and banking on luck to come our way. Now, here's where the word luck comes. Because you're gambling. You have to be conscious of your surroundings, conscious how things go. Over the past weekend, last night, Sunday night football, the Giants are playing Dallas Cowboys. And Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback, broke his ankle or foot. Now, I didn't have time to feel sorry for him, but I had plenty of time to be mad at him and disappointed in him because Dak Prescott, without his contract being done over a season ago, should not have been playing. He took the biggest gamble you can take in his position when he bet on himself. And the unthinkable happened in last night's game. He was crying like a little baby because he already knew what it was. He knew that it was damage to the point where he's not going to play. He's out for the season, the one season that he needed to count so that he can finally get his contract situation done. Not going to happen. I understand you got agents for things like this, and you probably sat down with agent. What you think, man? Because they offered $100 million. Yeah, but we could get more and blah blah blah. Now you're listening to somebody who's not playing the sport, who's simply going off of opinion of what he think, and more importantly, situating himself to get a bigger and better cut of the money. So if I could get you more money, I can get a bigger cut. And now we're sitting in this weird ass purgatory of a place with this man's life and career in limbo. See what happens. But I bring that example up and information up to go alongside of this bullet point of consciousness, to being in one and knowing, in the knowing, your consciousness, you have to be conscious. That's why when you're knocked out and you're not up, you get hit over the head, you fall down. What do people always say? He's unconscious. Because you're not there with him. Like you don't, you're blacked out. To be conscious and to use one's consciousness is synonymous. There's no reason to be awake, but not conscious. You're up, I see, but you're not doing your due diligence to know what's going on. So everything you work for, whatever that thing is, because your consciousness is not on the level of maybe say your spirituality. You're not even one with you're one person and still not one with oneself. And you're just in outer space. Now, meanwhile, somebody who's doing the same thing you're doing, maybe your competition or not, did all their due diligence, all their research, they read up on it, they studied it. So it's more than likely they're going to surpass you. They're going to be more successful than you, more progressive, way more progress than you. You heard Bobby Simmons and the light from Stetsasonic when they was on the show earlier. They said it, and I said in the interview before them too. That's the golden era, and the golden era always love. We all supported each other, we love each other. Comedians the same, but when we got on stage in front of those people, we're gonna light your ass up. Everybody should be up there with the intent of making it hard for the next person, so that's how we elevate ourselves to being the best we can be. It's very simple. So your consciousness is everything. All right. Next bullet point. We got a couple more. Hang in there. This is a very important one. Number 4 is super important. Energy. Let that sink in a minute. Energy. Now, here's the crazy thing about the word energy and about this point of energy. It's not just your energy. Energy is very important. Remember we talked about vibrations through the universe. Energy is in the universe as well. So it's not just enough to be on point with your energy, because we don't live on Earth by ourselves. We move amongst others. So it's very important to be aware and stay on point with others' energy as well, because you're going to be around. So let's just say you're a person with great energy, good or great. if you don't pay attention, if you're not conscious of the other people around you that you bring around you or that you go around, this can inform you the direction your energy is naturally going. Think about this. I said earlier on the show, you know how you do those diagrams and those graphs when you want to do a bullet point, PowerPoint or something to show people graph systems of how it's going. Remember the old pie one? You get the circle and then they cut it up and show you percentages. Like they'll have a pie representing New York and then they'll be like, well, this is 40% Latino. This is 30% Black. This is Polish and blah, blah. So let's say we got that same pie graph representing our energy. If that's the case, that should be a big ass split and a big chunk in there cut off for just your energy. Because this is your life. This is pi of energy. And your energy anywhere between 40 to 60, 70% of that energy. And all those other pies that get cut off will be people that you find yourself around, neighbors, co-workers, family, friends, colleagues, you know what I mean? Like bystanders. They taking up the different percentage to finish up the 100% mark. Now, the key is, what kind of energy is that? Is it an energy to match your energy? Does it disrupt your energy? Does your energy just not coincide with that energy? You have to be very careful with energy. You got to be very careful. You got to be very careful, excuse me. You got to be very careful what you do with other people's energy. And I'm not saying that we live in a perfect world where you're not going to be around somebody with horrible energy or negative energy or just vice versa of your energy. Yeah, it's no way around that will never happen. What is in your control is how much you intake, how much you sit around. You know what it's like? You ever go in a room? I don't smoke, nothing, never. Cigarette, weed, nothing. Don't disrespect it. I just don't do it. So when I walk into a room and someone is smoking, my stay in that space is very short and limited. That's how you gotta look at the energy. When you get around the energy and it's not your bag and it's not your type of energy and it's totally in the wrong direction or totally the wrong temperature, whatever, your stay around that has to be minute and very short. Because the one thing about energy, you can't call it sometimes. One is going to overpower and rule the other. Now, sometimes that's the positive, beating the shit out of the negative energy. And sometimes positive energy is not that strong, but the negative one is super strong and beat the shit out of the positive energy. You can't call it. It's like a heavyweight fight. You can put your money on whatever one you want, but it can go either way. So instead of walking into all these fights and trying to go up against this, that, and the third, consciousness. Pay attention to your surroundings. You already know, you live in this, so you know what this brings to the table. You know what kind of energy this predominantly works within. Now you just got to pay attention to every other energy that's always around. And here's the thing about spirituality and energy. Once you tapped in, because it sounds like a lot harder than it is. It sounds like, oh man, I gotta be serious all the time and look at what's around. No, you don't. In the beginning, you may have to, but once you tap into yourself, you could look like you're not paying zero attention, just having a good time. Throwing some shots back, your weed smoking, you got your blunt, whatever the case may be, and no one is the wiser that you are the most alert in that room. Because you don't align those things right there: spirituality, consciousness, energy, all of those things together. So be careful, because energy is super important for success all day, every day. All right. So we got inspiration, we got spirituality, we got consciousness, and fourth, we have energy. Now, last but not least, and this is probably it's probably the most important ingredient in this gumbo. And it came earlier, but I saved it for later because I wanted to sink in the most. And this is purpose. Yes, this is purpose, people. It is very super important, super duper everything, because we talked about, what inspired you, right? So now you're inspired, you're doing something, but what is your purpose? This is one of the trickiest things in life, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we, as a people, just human nature, we will spend a lot of time on things, and then fast forward 5 years, 10 years, whatever the length is, we'll look back at that thing, which you gave a lot of time to, and say, oh, you know what, I didn't have to do that. In the moment, you may or may not have thought that was your purpose for a minute. Or you may have started to do something, and because it became like you took it for granted, it became like second nature, it became like easy work, and you just kept going, doing this thing, whatever it was, like, whether it was a physical showing up to something, or whether it was a virtual thing, you just kept doing it like clockwork. And then before you knew it, this time had elapsed. And then you go, one day you just don't do it. You're like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't need to do that. And then you don't do it. And it ain't until later you look back and go, damn, I remember when I thought that was my purpose. You know what I mean? It's like when people ask me about stand-up comedy, I'm like, I did a lot of shit, from music to art to dancing, to sports, baseball, football, basketball, to all of these things, to raising dogs, to all these things that I love to do and like to do. But the difference in comedy was I felt it was a calling. Oh, I like to do all that shit. But when I do it, do I feel like this is my calling? No. I feel like this is my calling. So this is what gave me my purpose eventually, because we can go through a list of things that you're doing along the way before you find that thing. So I say that to say, when I say connect with oneself, deep inside of oneself, do what you got to do, to most importantly, find your purpose. Because the minute you find your purpose and you apply to things like your spirituality, your consciousness is wide awake. You know what I mean? Your inspiration, you know what that is. All those other four things, those 4 bullet points, when they collide and come together and create what we call a perfect storm, I guarantee you will know your purpose. It's just that simple. So do your due diligence, people. Put the work in. And again, it sounds rhetorical because it's me talking and laying this thing down like a track, but it's really for you to not just listen, but to hear me, and then apply it to yourself so you can hear yourself, listen to yourself. What made sense? What connected? What did he say that, damn, I can relate to that? Like, damn, I need to do more of that. Like, damn, I forgot to do that. Damn, I didn't know that. It ain't no difference than when you're looking at a house, a supermarket, or a clothing store. It's a bunch of shit on the racks. You're not buying everything, but you know what you're doing? You're grabbing the shit you need, though. You know what? I didn't know that. It's a good point. I like the ingredients on that. You know what? That's a good point. Let me get a box of that. That's it. Yo, spirituality, let me get a bag of that. Yeah, you ain't got no more purpose. It's the same thing. When you come on here, Motivation Monday, you go shopping and you pick up the stuff you need off the shelf. And you take it home and you cook it up and make you a good pot of positive, progressive, successful, motivating gumbo. And as our show, I've been blessed to have you guys, to work with you guys. I appreciate you guys. You just don't know WMS Radio. So make sure you stay tuned to us Mondays at 6 o'clock doing our thing. I'd like to thank my guests on the show representing the group. They back. They've been touring. I mean, we all stopped because of COVID, but they in that studio. They finishing up that new music. Stetsasonic, one of my all-time favorite groups. Stetsasonic, people. So shout out to Bobby Simmons putting that all together. And yeah, next year we are doing this hip hop comedy tour, collabing. Bobby Simmons, thank you very much. Shout out to Wise, Fuquan, DBC, Delight, all those brothers from Stetsasonic. I just love the group. And you know how it is. It's a long name, but hey, if you can't say it all, you just say Stet. This has been a Motivational Monday. Nothing but love for y'all, man. Salute. And I'll see y'all next Monday right here.